Max Verstappen wins the 2025 Japanese Grand Prix. Magnificent Max Verstappen. The man was absolutely phenomenal this entire weekend. Pole position and then the winner of the race. The man was simply magnificent. Just when you think the Red Bulls are down and out, Max Verstappen, if there's anyone on the planet can do what he does, honestly, it's only him. Only because of Max Verstappen is Red Bull even relevant here at Suzuka. Never mind the story about Yuki Tsunoda. But Max Verstappen was simply brilliant. He was so good. And it makes you think that Suzuka now has become like a Monaco circuit in a sense that qualifying actually really matters. Qualifying is actually what takes place. That's what takes center stage. They call it the driver's circuit, and if you look at the situation of the race weekend, some of the top drivers, the well-skilled drivers, the proper Formula One drivers, they are the ones that always seem to succeed or do well at this circuit. Now, although Max Verstappen was brilliant this weekend, the McLarens, people are making noise. People are talking about what on earth are they playing at? What are they doing? They've got two drivers that could challenge Max Verstappen in this race. And I think Max Verstappen went as far to say, look, if had he been in one of those McLarens, they wouldn't even see him, never mind winning the race. A lot of stick has fallen McLaren's way, okay, about how they've managed the two drivers, how they've managed Piastri, how they managed Lando Norris. But what I would argue is that, guys, this is the third race of the season, okay? We need to all slow down and pump the brakes on McLaren. You might think I'm talking bias, and maybe I am. But at the same time, race week 3, okay, and they got a 2-3, and we're all talking about how bad or what they done wasn't good enough in terms of this race weekend. A lot of people were saying, you know, the fact that there's two drivers, right, they've got to make Red Bull do something. But I don't think people understand the challenge is actually Max Verstappen. Max Verstappen is a phenomenal race driver, okay? The man is top notch. And sure, I do believe in some cases that McLaren probably left a bit on the table there. There was a race win up for grabs. There was a 1-2 up for grabs. But just as the rest of the grid showed, guys, overtaking was unbelievably difficult. And if you got too close to a driver and you weren't able to overtake, you were going to get caught in dirty air, you're going to lose momentum, the tyres were going to be affected. Cold weather in the Suzuka circuit kept the tyres, you know, well gripped. Like there was no any degradation, there was no sense of like any graining on the tyres as such. If anything, tyres were looked after well by all the drivers because the temperatures were not too hot. But here's the thing though, here's a serious question, okay? We love Suzuka, we love the Japanese Grand Prix, but at what point do we start saying, hang on a minute, if you're going to become like Monaco without the glitz and glamour, when do we start questioning the circuit? And look, the truth of the matter is this. The regulations are at the end of the season, okay? So all the cars are kind of pretty much up to date. Everybody's quite close to the pack. That's one thing. But the second thing is the cars are just way too big. They're too wide. The tires are gargantuan. And there's a reason why we can't see many overtakes in Suzuka or in other races like Monaco, for example. But it really dawned on me this weekend how important pole position was. And Max Verstappen basically won the Grand Prix based on Saturday. But yeah, McLaren could, you know, cry about not getting the race win. But if a bad day is 2 and 3, I'm telling you, McLaren will absolutely take it. Kimi Antonelli had a solid weekend, okay? The guy had done very well. He was the youngest driver ever to lead a Formula One race. This happened after the leaders all pitted. So Max Verstappen, Norris, Piastri, they all had pitted for new tyres. So Kimi for a moment did lead the race. However, he finished P6, which is still very brilliant for the rookie driver, for the 18-year-old in that Mercedes, and he finished just behind George Russell. But there was not a lot of action. There was not a lot to be said during this race weekend. Now, there was a little bit of a battle in the pit lane between Lando Norris and Max Verstappen. However, you know, it was really a nothing. Lando tried to make, I don't know how he thought he could fit two cars in that pit lane with Max Verstappen. Max Verstappen is not budging anybody. And so Lando Norris ended up on the grass. And that was basically the most action we probably got. And the F1 TV directive or whoever it was, they did all their best to not actually show us that incident. Instead, we saw Charles Leclerc, I think, pitting. With all due respect, Charles Leclerc had nothing to do in this race. But Kimi Antonelli has been a phenomenal driver. The rookies this season have been very impressive, actually. Shout out to Oliver Behrman, Isaac Hadjar, and Alex Albon. These guys finished in the top 10. They qualified in the top 10 as well. And again, this proves the point. Qualifying is where it was at. I feel sorry for Yuki Tsunoda. They had literally no time for this man on TV. The guy started P14. He finished P12. The guy got driver of the day. Now, I am not a conspiracy theorist, but I'm sure that was because of where we were. But I saw no TV time for this guy whatsoever. But he did finish ahead of Liam Lawson, which remember, Liam Lawson qualified P13, but he finished P17 in that Racing Bulls. Peak. If you like Formula One content like this, please smash a like on this video. I'd like to also point out that Max Verstappen made a very strong message where he said, we do not have to worry about this. Like, we are all together, that we are, you know, there was like no stress towards the end of that team radio message when they, you know, when he took the checkered flag, but it was very much like, guys, we stick together, like no matter what, like we win together, we lose together, whatever the case may be. And it was always a we conversation. So it was fantastic to hear that. If you're a Red Bull person, if you're a Max Verstappen fan, you know, there is something there. And it goes to show that even if McLaren have the best car on the grid this season, guess what? It's not going to be easy for them. And bizarrely, you know how Lance Stroll had a good start to the season? The first couple of races, he was actually doing very well. The guy qualified P20 and finished P20. He does not like this circuit. I think he's had some shockers in Suzuka. But if I was to sum up the Japanese Grand Prix this weekend, Max Verstappen simply brilliant, okay? He was absolutely magnificent. Credit where credit is due, because when Red Bull are having a mare, or when people want to say something controversial about Red Bull, we are all ready and waiting to bash them. But this weekend, we cannot do such. And maybe McLaren are the ones that are going to be the ones missing out, licking their wounds. However, P2 and P3 at the start of the season, could Oscar Piastri really attack Max Verstappen because he said he was faster than Lando Norris? Or was Lando Norris just preserving himself because he knew what time it was? If I get too close to Max, it's not going to end well in terms of tyre degradation, in terms of dirty air, all that kind of thing. But it goes to show, look, the top 10 didn't change much in terms of order. None of the people that qualified in the top 10 finished outside the top 10. And then in the front three, it stayed as it was, just as qualifying was. It was Max Verstappen P1, Lando Norris P2, and Oscar Piastri P3. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below on what you thought about the Japanese Grand Prix. Were you excited? Did you enjoy it? Did you find it boring? Was Max Verstappen simply brilliant, or did McLaren leave a lot on the table? Did they drop the ball on this one? My driver of the day has to be Max Verstappen, because I think the fact that he took it on pole, and he shouldn't have been on pole, and I think McLaren might have missed their chances there for being in pole position, but the fact that he also led the race, did not lose position once, and absolutely done a good, superb drive. Max Verstappen by far was the driver of the day. But the Hadjers and Albons and Oliver Behrmans of it all, listen, top 10 finishes, fantastic stuff. The rookies in general, including Kimi Antonelli, fantastic. The Bahrain Grand Prix is up next. Let's see if McLaren can bounce back ahead of Max Verstappen, or is Red Bull's real car now arrived? Smash a like on the video if you like Formula 1 content like this, and make sure you subscribe to the channel, okay? If you want to talk all things F1, not just the race weekends, we're going to be doing some debates and some evergreen Formula 1 content. Be sure to subscribe to the channel, and until next time, lights out.